Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy History Facts. I'm so glad you've joined me tonight. Tonight, we will take a gentle journey across the vast oceans of our world. We will drift through time, exploring the quiet wonders of ancient voyages, legendary explorers, and the mysteries that have long whispered across the waves. With each story, you may feel the soft sway of a ship beneath you, the gentle breeze on your face, and the peaceful rhythm of the sea surrounding you. But for now, you don't need to do anything at all. Just settle in, relax, and allow your mind to wander gently through the quiet pages of history. If you're ready, let's begin. Long before maps were carefully drawn or compasses guided sailors with precision, the oceans were vast and mysterious. Early humans were drawn to the water, not just for survival, but for curiosity. They watched the tides rise and fall, noticed the changing patterns of stars reflected in the sea, and wondered what lay beyond the horizon. For many coastal communities, the ocean was both a provider and a storyteller, offering fish for food, salt for preservation, and routes for gentle trade with neighboring lands. In places like the islands of the Pacific, people crafted canoes from hollowed-out tree trunks. These early vessels were simple, yet surprisingly sturdy, capable of traveling long distances with patience and skill. Historians have discovered that ancient Polynesians could navigate thousands of miles across open water, using the position of the sun, the flight patterns of birds, and even the subtle color changes of the waves. Their journeys were quiet, guided by deep observation and respect for nature, and they remind us that humans have always been drawn to the rhythm of the sea. Elsewhere in the ancient world, civilizations such as the Egyptians and Phoenicians began to develop more sophisticated boats, designed to carry goods along rivers and across the Mediterranean. Their ships were often made of cedar or palm wood, light enough to glide across calm waters, yet strong enough to weather storms. Trade flourished quietly, with sailors sharing spices, textiles, and knowledge as they moved from port to port. The ocean became a gentle bridge, connecting distant lands, and through these early voyages, the world began to feel a little smaller. The sea also held an air of mystery. Ancient maps often included strange creatures lurking beyond familiar shores, giant fish, serpents, and whales that seemed almost mythical. Sailors told soft stories around fires, speaking of islands that appeared only in certain seasons, or of currents that could carry a small boat across hundreds of miles without a single oar. These tales were not just fanciful, they were ways to pass knowledge quietly from one generation to the next, a gentle guide to those who would venture into unknown waters. As night fell in ancient harbors, the smell of salt and wood mingled in the air. Lanterns flickered on the decks of ships, and families whispered blessings for safe passage. Even in these early days, the ocean inspired a deep sense of wonder and a calm respect for the vast moving world. It was a place where time slowed and where the rhythm of the waves encouraged reflection, patience, and quiet bravery. The earliest ocean explorers remind us that adventure does not always need haste or fanfare. Sometimes it begins with noticing the gentle swell of the tide, the shimmer of moonlight on water, and the soft, constant pull that invites us to look beyond the shore. And in that quiet invitation, the first whispers of human curiosity began to travel across the oceans, shaping the beginnings of exploration that would continue for millennia. Long ago, the Mediterranean Sea was a quiet corridor of culture, commerce, and human curiosity. its waters connected distant lands, allowing early mariners to travel between regions that would have otherwise seemed isolated. Civilizations such as the Phoenicians, Greeks, and Egyptians moved along these calm blue paths, carrying goods, ideas, and stories that would ripple across generations. The sea was more than a route. It was a companion that demanded respect, observation, and patience. The Phoenicians, in particular, were remarkable for their skill and understanding of the waters. They built long, narrow ships with curved prows designed to cut through waves gracefully. These vessels could carry traders and cargo for hundreds of miles along the coastlines. Phoenician sailors learned to read the sky, using stars like the North Star as guides during the night. They noticed subtle differences in wave patterns and the color of the sea, hints that could reveal hidden currents or approaching shoals. Their voyages were quiet achievements, guided by intuition and careful attention rather than speed or force. Greeks, inspired by trade and curiosity, also took to the sea. They explored not only for commerce, but for understanding. Their ships, known as triremes, were marvels of design, with rows of oars that moved in perfect rhythm and sails that could catch the lightest wind. Gentle exploration of islands and distant shores allowed knowledge to grow, with stories of faraway lands carried back to bustling cities like Athens and Corinth. Some sailors kept logs of their travels, though these records were often simple sketches or written descriptions of coastlines, animals, and plants encountered along the way. These early notes show us a civilization quietly observing the world, trying to understand it without urgency, learning that the sea itself has a rhythm that can guide or teach. Yet, life at sea was not without its challenges. Storms could rise suddenly, with dark clouds and gusting winds, creating a symphony of tension. Sailors learned to move with these rhythms, adjusting sails and oars, listening to the creak of wood and the slap of water against the hull. They discovered that patience often meant survival. Rushing or ignoring the signs of nature could bring disaster. This delicate balance between courage and caution, curiosity and respect, shaped the character of early Mediterranean explorers. Beyond commerce and exploration, the sea inspired quiet reflection and mythology. Greek legends tell of sailors encountering strange creatures or islands inhabited by mysterious beings. These stories, passed down softly through generations, were not just entertainment. They were a way to preserve knowledge and respect for the unknown. In each tale, the ocean's vastness remained a gentle teacher, reminding humans that the world was bigger than their immediate sight, and that understanding required attention, humility, and calm patience. As evening settled over ancient harbors, lanterns would sway on docks, casting golden reflections across the water. Families whispered blessings for departing sailors, and the gentle rhythm of the waves became a lullaby for those waiting and those journeying far. In the quiet of these ancient seas, humanity's fascination with the unknown began to flourish, teaching that exploration is as much an inward journey of patience and observation as it is a path to distant lands. The mariners of the Mediterranean remind us that even in the hustle of trade and travel, there was always a slower, softer rhythm to be found, a rhythm that guided the first generations of ocean explorers, and one that still whispers across the waves today. Far beyond the Mediterranean, the Indian Ocean stretched like a vast mirror, reflecting the skies and the distant lands that bordered its gentle waves. Long before modern navigation tools existed, people in East Africa, India, and Southeast Asia began to explore these waters with remarkable skill. The ocean was both a pathway and a teacher, encouraging travelers to observe wind patterns, the movement of clouds, and the behavior of birds that hinted at nearby land. In places like the Malabar coast of India, sailors built sturdy vessels known as dhows. These boats, with triangular sails called lateens, could catch the seasonal monsoon winds that blew predictably across the ocean. Traders would wait patiently for the right winds, knowing that the rhythm of the natural world dictated their journeys. They carried precious spices, silks, and incense, but also stories, ideas, and a quiet appreciation for the vastness around them. Each voyage was a measured dance with the elements, a lesson in patience and observation. On the East African coast, the Swahili people became adept at navigating these waters. They developed bustling ports where goods from distant lands could be exchanged. In these harbors, sailors would listen to the ocean, noting subtle changes in tides and currents. They learned to respect the unpredictability of the sea while still trusting the patterns that revealed themselves over years of careful observation. It was a gentle collaboration between humans and nature, where each voyage deepened understanding and connection with the world beyond one's own shore. Meanwhile, across the islands of Southeast Asia, communities mastered the art of long-distance voyaging. They crafted outrigger canoes that were balanced for stability in both calm lagoons and open ocean. Families often traveled together, passing on the skills of navigation and seamanship from one generation to the next. The ocean was not feared, it was revered. Its vastness inspired songs, chants, and stories that celebrated both adventure and safety, blending practical knowledge with a sense of wonder. Historians have discovered that these early Indian Ocean explorers made journeys that spanned thousands of miles. Their voyages were not rushed. They moved with the pace of the winds and waves, observing the subtle shifts in nature that guided them. Islands, coral reefs, and coastal landscapes were quietly noted, forming an unwritten map that allowed others to follow their paths. Each trip became a thread in a vast, interconnected web of trade and cultural exchange, stretching from East Africa to India and beyond, to the islands of Indonesia. As the sun rose and fell over these waters, sailors would feel the gentle pull of the ocean beneath them. The sea taught them patience, observation, and a kind of quiet courage. In its vast expanse, humans learned that exploration is not only about reaching new lands, but also about understanding the rhythms and whispers of the world around them. The Indian Ocean, with its steady winds and shimmering horizons, became a teacher and companion, guiding countless voyages that quietly shaped the history of human connection and discovery. Far to the east, China's long coastline and numerous rivers gave rise to a culture deeply connected to water. Ancient Chinese communities not only relied on rivers for agriculture and trade, but also looked outward toward the vast seas, imagining lands beyond the horizon. Their curiosity led to the creation of sturdy ships and careful records, guiding both short coastal trips and more ambitious oceanic voyages. Chinese shipbuilders developed remarkable junks, vessels that were large, stable, and skillfully designed for long-distance travel. These ships often had multiple masts, with sails that could be adjusted depending on wind conditions, and watertight compartments that provided safety in rough seas. Such thoughtful design allowed sailors to travel farther than many might have imagined possible. Historians believe that Chinese explorers quietly ventured across the South China Sea to the islands of Southeast Asia and even beyond, carrying both trade goods and knowledge of distant lands. During the Song Dynasty, merchants would set out on carefully planned voyages, transporting porcelain, silk, and spices. But beyond commerce, there was a quiet dedication to understanding the sea itself. Navigators observed the stars and the moon's reflection on the water, noticed the patterns of waves and currents, and sometimes even used early magnetic compasses to maintain their direction. Each journey was measured, deliberate, and harmonious with the natural world, emphasizing calm observation over hurried ambition. In another corner of the past, centuries later, the voyages of Admiral Zheng He during the Ming Dynasty demonstrated China's ability to navigate the oceans on a grand scale. His fleet, consisting of enormous treasure ships alongside smaller vessels, traveled to distant lands such as modern-day India, Arabia, and the east coast of Africa. While these expeditions were often intended to display the empire's power, they also quietly encouraged cultural exchange. Gifts, knowledge, and stories were shared across oceans, reminding the world that exploration could be a gentle bridge rather than a forceful conquest. Life at sea during these expeditions required patience and quiet resilience. Sailors and scholars observed the subtle changes in weather, tended to sails and ropes, and noted every detail of islands and ports they encountered. The ocean taught them humility, for no matter the size of a fleet, the waves and winds always held the final authority. Yet within that respect lay wonder, the shimmering reflection of stars, the songs of seabirds, and the endless horizon offered a sense of serenity that could be both calming and inspiring. In reflecting on these ancient Chinese explorations, we see a profound connection between humans and the ocean. These voyages remind us that curiosity, patience, and careful observation are timeless companions of discovery. The sea is not merely a route to unknown lands. It is a teacher, quietly guiding those who listen, showing that the journey itself holds as much value as the destination. Across the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, the islands appeared like scattered jewels on a deep blue blanket. Long before compasses or modern instruments existed, Polynesian navigators quietly mastered these waters, relying on an extraordinary understanding of the stars, waves, and winds. The ocean was not simply a space to cross. It was a living guide, offering subtle clues to those who knew how to observe it. Polynesian voyagers built double-hulled canoes, vessels both stable and swift, perfect for long ocean journeys. These canoes could carry families, food, and trade goods across hundreds or even thousands of miles. But what made their journeys remarkable was not just the vessels themselves. It was the navigators' knowledge of the natural world. They noticed the flight paths of seabirds, which often led to land, and the direction of swells that traveled across the ocean for days. Every movement of the sea offered insight. Every shift in the stars suggested a direction. Nighttime brought an especially quiet kind of guidance. Sailors would look up at the sky, tracing constellations that moved gently across the heavens. These constellations were not merely decoration. They were maps. Each star, each cluster, helped navigators determine where they were and where they needed to go. They moved with an almost meditative focus, listening to the ocean while observing the sky, allowing both to guide their path. The ocean and the stars together created a rhythm, a subtle pulse that helped them traverse distances most would find impossible. Cultural traditions were quietly woven into these journeys. Knowledge of navigation was passed down from elders to children, often through song and story, embedding wisdom into memory rather than written text. In this way, every voyage was also a lesson in patience, observation, and respect. Even small islands discovered during these journeys were treated with reverence, and the return to familiar shores carried the satisfaction of both discovery and safe passage. Historians today are amazed by the scope of Polynesian exploration. Islands once thought isolated were quietly connected through trade, communication, and careful voyaging. Shells, plants, and tools traveled across vast distances, carried in the canoes alongside families. Yet the emphasis was always on harmony with the ocean rather than conquest. Every trip demonstrated that humans could move across immense spaces with grace, guided by observation and intuition. As night settled over the Pacific, the soft sway of canoes would mirror the gentle rolling of the waves. Families and navigators alike experienced a quiet sense of rhythm, a calm interlude between adventure and rest. In these serene journeys, the Pacific became both teacher and companion, reminding us that the ocean is not merely a barrier to cross, but a guide that offers wisdom to those willing to listen. The stars, the wind, and the waves together whispered lessons that have lasted for centuries, quietly inspiring generations to respect, explore, and wonder. Far to the north, along cold and rugged coastlines, the Vikings quietly embraced the call of the sea. These Scandinavian explorers and traders moved in long, slender ships called longships, crafted to glide smoothly over both calm waters and rough northern seas. Their voyages were not hurried. They followed the rhythm of tides and winds, listening closely to the subtle signs of nature that could guide them safely across fjords and open ocean. Viking longships were marvels of both design and function. Their shallow hulls allowed them to navigate rivers and reach inland settlements, while their strong wooden frames could endure powerful ocean waves. Sails and oars worked in quiet harmony, providing flexibility in any condition. Historians have discovered evidence that Vikings traveled far beyond Scandinavia, to the coasts of Britain, Ireland, and even as distant as Greenland and North America. Each journey was meticulously planned, yet always responsive to the natural world around them. Life on board required patience and skill. Sailors monitored the clouds and winds, noting subtle changes that might signal approaching storms. Nights were illuminated by small fires or lanterns, casting a soft glow on the decks while sailors rested, keeping watch and shifts to ensure safety. The sea became a teacher, offering lessons in resilience and observation. Even the smallest signs, like the direction of birds or the color of the waves, could reveal crucial information for navigating safely. Vikings also carried with them the quiet wisdom of storytelling. Tales of past voyages, discoveries, and challenges were passed down softly from one generation to the next. These stories preserved knowledge of distant lands, dangerous waters, and islands rich with resources. Every expedition was an opportunity to learn not just about geography, but also about patience, courage, and the rhythms of the ocean itself. Beyond raiding and trading, the Vikings' exploration of northern waters contributed to a broader understanding of the world. They established settlements that connected remote communities, allowing goods, ideas, and cultural practices to flow quietly across regions. Each voyage, whether to nearby coasts or faraway lands, demonstrated a gentle balance between adventure and caution, curiosity and respect for the power of the sea. As the northern night fell, the gentle rocking of longships under the starlit sky reminded sailors of the continuity of life and exploration. The ocean, vast and quiet, was both a pathway and a companion. The Vikings' calm attentiveness to the sea offers a lesson that resonates even today. That exploration is most profound when approached with patience, respect, and the willingness to move gently in tune with the natural world. Returning once more to the Mediterranean, we find a region alive with subtle movement and quiet exchange. By the time of the Roman Empire, the sea had become a gently humming network, connecting cities, islands, and distant lands. Merchants, sailors, and travelers moved slowly across its waters, carrying not only goods but ideas, art, and stories that would ripple softly through generations. Roman ships were carefully designed to balance speed with stability. Many were cargo vessels, laden with olive oil, wine, grain, and pottery, their wooden hulls cutting through calm waves with a gentle grace. Smaller boats ferried travelers along coasts and across rivers, their movements almost meditative, like a quiet rhythm echoing the heartbeat of daily life. Sailors learned to read the wind and the tides, adjusting sails with precision, relying on both experience and observation rather than force. Trade in the Mediterranean was not merely transactional, it was a slow, collaborative process. Ports became places of learning and reflection. Merchants exchanged knowledge about distant lands, plants, animals, and even the customs of people they might never meet again. Maps, though rudimentary, were slowly refined through observation and experience, helping future sailors navigate more safely. Every voyage, no matter how small, contributed to a collective understanding of the wider world, quietly shaping connections that endured long after ships returned to harbor. Life aboard these vessels demanded patience and attentiveness. Storms could arise unexpectedly, bringing sudden swells that required careful adjustment of sails and oars. At night, the gentle glow of oil lamps illuminated the decks, while sailors took turns resting, keeping watch, and observing the stars for guidance. The sea taught humility. showing that no matter the size of a ship or the experience of its crew, the waters always held the final authority. The Mediterranean also inspired reflection and wonder. Islands dotted the horizon like stepping stones, each with its own quiet history, culture, and traditions. Sailors noted changes in water color, the presence of seabirds, and the shapes of distant cliffs, all subtle cues that helped them navigate and explore. Stories passed down in whispers around evening fires reminded travelers of the ocean's power, beauty, and mystery. In these quiet exchanges and gentle voyages, the Mediterranean became more than a sea. It became a teacher and a companion. The soft rhythm of waves against wooden hulls, the sway of sails catching the wind, and the glow of distant harbors all offered lessons in patience, observation, and respect for the natural world. The calm, steady movement of trade and travel across these waters reflects a human desire to connect, to learn, and to discover, gently shaping the history of exploration that continues to inspire curiosity today. As centuries passed, the oceans called to new generations of explorers from Europe. These voyages were often long and uncertain, yet they were guided by careful preparation, observation, and the quiet courage of those who chose to leave familiar shores. For sailors of Portugal, Spain, and other maritime nations, the vast Atlantic was both a challenge and an invitation, offering distant lands and unknown horizons to those patient enough to listen to the rhythms of wind and wave. Portuguese explorers, for instance, developed caravels, small, nimble ships with lateen sails that allowed them to sail almost into the wind. These vessels were perfect for long ocean journeys, enabling sailors to follow currents and trade winds across open water. Navigators relied on simple yet effective tools: the stars at night, the sun during the day, and a careful eye on the motion of waves and clouds. Every detail mattered, and every observation could mean the difference between a safe journey and disaster. Sailors often spent weeks, sometimes months at sea. During these quiet stretches, life moved slowly. The soft creak of the ship's timbers, the gentle slap of waves, and the subtle change of light at dawn and dusk became a calming rhythm, almost like a lullaby of the ocean. Food and water were carefully rationed, and sailors passed the time with quiet tasks, tending to sails, mending ropes, and observing the distant horizon. These daily routines, while practical, also encouraged a reflective mindset, teaching patience and careful attentiveness to the world around them. Explorers like Bartolomeo Diaz and Vasco da Gama ventured further than most had imagined possible, guided by winds that swept steadily across the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. They discovered coastlines, islands, and trading ports that quietly reshaped the understanding of the world. Their journeys were not hurried adventures. They were deliberate steps into the unknown, moving with the ocean's rhythm rather than forcing their way through it. Beyond the practicalities of trade and navigation, these voyages inspired quiet wonder. Sailors noted the shifting colors of the sea, the presence of whales and dolphins, and the vastness of starry skies above them. Even the unexpected, an uncharted island or an unfamiliar shoreline, was met with observation and gentle exploration rather than haste. The ocean became a teacher, offering lessons in humility, perseverance, and the delicate art of paying attention. Through these early European explorations, the world quietly expanded. Knowledge, goods, and stories moved across oceans, connecting continents and cultures in ways that would have been impossible without careful observation and patient voyaging. The courage of these explorers was not only in the act of leaving home, but in the quiet mindfulness required to navigate vast, unpredictable waters. A lesson in both adventure and serenity that still echoes across the seas today. As European sailors ventured further into the Atlantic and beyond, the oceans became a stage for discovery, trade, and quiet encounters with lands and peoples previously unknown to them. This period, often called the Age of Discovery, was marked not only by ambition, but also by careful observation and a deepening understanding of the rhythms of the sea. Sailors learned to interpret the subtle signals of nature, turning uncertainty into a measured, reflective journey. Spain and Portugal led many early voyages, sending sailors across vast stretches of ocean, guided by wind patterns and the careful positions of the sun and stars. Ships carried spices, fabrics, and precious metals, but also letters, sketches, and stories, small offerings of human curiosity and learning. Even the simplest encounters with distant islands or coastal communities were treated with respect, as sailors quietly documented flora, fauna, and cultural practices. These notes would later help others navigate safely and understand the diversity of the world beyond Europe. One of the quiet marvels of this era was the realization of the ocean's interconnectedness. Navigators noticed currents that flowed across vast distances, sometimes carrying warm water from tropical regions or cold water from polar seas. They observed migratory birds, whales, and other sea creatures, learning to interpret their behaviors as signs of nearby land or changes in weather. Every voyage became a dialogue with nature, an opportunity to listen to the ocean's subtle guidance rather than force one's path through it. Ships of the period, such as carracks and naus, were larger than earlier vessels, yet carefully balanced to maintain stability across long journeys. Life aboard these ships was slow and rhythmic. Sailors would tend to sails, repair lines, and maintain the vessel's hull, often working in harmony with the wind and waves. Nights were illuminated by small lanterns, casting soft light across the decks, while the gentle rocking of the ship encouraged reflection and quiet camaraderie among the crew. Encounters with distant peoples were moments of curiosity and learning. Sailors observed local customs, foods, and crafts, often recording their impressions in journals or simple sketches. While history sometimes remembers these voyages for conquest or trade, the quieter, softer stories tell of observation, respect, and human curiosity. These encounters remind us that the ocean can connect people gently across vast distances, and that discovery often begins with careful attention to what lies just beyond the horizon. In this way, the Age of Discovery was not only about reaching new lands, but about listening to the wind, the stars, and the ocean itself. It taught sailors patience and humility, and it quietly expanded the world in ways that would influence generations to come. The vast waters carried more than ships. They carried ideas, knowledge, and the soft wonder of curiosity that continues to inspire explorers even today. As sailors continued to venture across the world's oceans, they began to notice patterns beneath the surface of the waves, currents that moved steadily, almost like invisible rivers within the sea. These currents became quiet guides for explorers, offering paths that could carry ships safely across vast distances. Observing them required patience, careful study, and a gentle respect for the natural rhythms of the ocean. One of the most famous of these currents, the Gulf Stream, flows from the Gulf of Mexico along the eastern coast of North America and then stretches across the Atlantic. Early European sailors, once aware of its steady movement, learned to use it to their advantage, reducing travel time and conserving energy. Yet, even as they relied on these waters, they remained aware of their unpredictable moods. Storms could swell unexpectedly, winds could shift, and the steady rhythm of currents could become a challenge if ignored. This quiet vigilance taught sailors a form of mindful navigation, where observation and reflection mattered as much as courage. In the Pacific, similar patterns of currents guided Polynesian and Asian navigators across thousands of miles. They noticed subtle changes in wave direction, the way small debris drifted on the surface, and how water temperature could shift over great distances. These observations, passed down through generations, formed a body of knowledge that allowed early sailors to travel safely without modern instruments. The ocean itself became a teacher, instructing through soft, constant signals that required careful attention to understand. Currents also influenced trade and migration. Coastal communities relied on predictable flows to move goods and communicate with neighboring regions. Seeds, shells, and even small plants occasionally drifted across oceans, creating quiet connections between distant lands. Sailors noticed these patterns and adapted their routes accordingly, learning that the sea was both a provider and a guide, offering opportunities for connection when approached with patience and respect. Life aboard ships interacting with these currents moved at a measured pace. Sailors tended to their vessels with care, adjusting sails to harness the wind in harmony with the flow of water beneath them. Nights were filled with the gentle sounds of waves brushing against the hull and the distant calls of seabirds. These quiet moments, punctuated by observation and reflection, helped travelers understand that the ocean was more than a medium of passage. It was a living, dynamic world with its own subtle wisdom. Through centuries of careful observation, sailors discovered that understanding the ocean's currents was a lesson in humility and attentiveness. It was not a conquest of nature, but a partnership, a dance between human skill and the ocean's quiet guidance. This understanding quietly shaped the success of countless voyages, allowing explorers to travel farther and safer than ever before, all while moving gently with the natural rhythm of the sea. Long before satellites or modern GPS, sailors across the world looked upward for guidance. The stars, moon, and sun became quiet companions, offering a soft and steady light to guide their paths across vast, open oceans. Celestial navigation was not only a skill, but also a gentle practice of observation and reflection. allowing sailors to move with the rhythms of the natural world. In the Atlantic, European navigators learned to track the North Star, which remained nearly fixed in the night sky. By measuring its height above the horizon, sailors could estimate their latitude with surprising accuracy. The sun, too, became a daily guide, its position at noon offering hints of location, while the phases of the moon helped track the passage of time. These natural indicators required patience and quiet attention, teaching travelers that the ocean demanded respect and mindfulness. Across the Pacific, Polynesian navigators relied on a combination of stars, ocean swells, and bird patterns. They memorized the rising and setting points of important constellations, creating mental maps that allowed them to traverse thousands of miles without the need for written charts. Every observation was part of a gentle dialogue with the sea and sky, a reminder that the journey was as much about listening and watching as it was about moving forward. Even simple tools, like the astrolabe and quadrant, became extensions of this quiet art. By measuring angles between celestial bodies and the horizon, sailors could refine their position with careful precision. Nights at sea were serene in their own way. Lanterns cast a soft glow on decks while sailors whispered observations, adjusted sails, and slowly turned the ship according to the stars. The ocean's vastness encouraged reflection, patience, and a deep connection with the world above and around them. Celestial navigation also fostered subtle collaboration among sailors. Knowledge was passed down from experienced navigators to apprentices, often through demonstration rather than written instruction. Families of seafarers quietly shared these skills across generations, ensuring that each voyage honored the wisdom of those who had come before. In this way, the stars became both a tool and a teacher, guiding humans across oceans while reminding them of their small place within the vastness of the universe. By learning to navigate with the sky, sailors discovered more than locations. They discovered a rhythm, a calm harmony between human observation and the eternal patterns above. Celestial navigation, in its quiet elegance, transformed the ocean into a gentle mentor, guiding countless journeys and quietly shaping the history of exploration with wisdom, patience, and wonder. The story of ocean exploration is not only about the people who sailed, but also about the ships that carried them across endless waters. Shipbuilding, in many cultures, became a quiet art, a careful balance of observation, patience, and deep understanding of materials. Each vessel was a living creation, designed to move gracefully with the waves, while protecting those aboard from the sea's unpredictable moods. In Northern Europe, shipwrights studied the rhythms of both rivers and oceans. Viking longships, with their sleek, narrow hulls and flexible oars, were crafted to glide over waves and even be carried across land when necessary. The wood was carefully chosen for strength and resilience, often treated with oils or pitch to resist water. Every plank was joined with attention and care, ensuring the vessel could endure long voyages while responding softly to wind and swell. Further south, in the Mediterranean, Roman and later Renaissance shipbuilders developed larger vessels capable of carrying cargo and passengers over longer distances. The carracks and galleons were meticulously constructed with multiple decks, masts, and sails. Designed for both stability and efficiency, sailors learned the quiet art of balancing a ship, adjusting rigging and sails to catch the wind just right, so that the vessel moved in harmony with nature rather than fighting against it. Across the Indian Ocean, dhows and junks reflected a different, equally remarkable understanding of water and wind. Sailors and builders collaborated, using knowledge passed down through generations. Hulls were reinforced, sails shaped for the monsoon winds, and compartments carefully designed to hold both cargo and families. These vessels demonstrated a patient, thoughtful approach to ocean travel. Each feature was built with intention, anticipating the gentle and sometimes turbulent rhythms of the sea. Life aboard these carefully crafted ships moved at a measured pace. Sailors tended to lines, checked hulls, and repaired sails, all in quiet coordination with the ocean's movements. Lanterns illuminated the decks at night, casting soft light on the wooden planks as gentle waves rocked the ship. Through this rhythm, sailors developed a profound sense of partnership with their vessels. The ship became more than a tool. It became an extension of their own senses, responding to the wind, water, and waves with grace. Shipbuilding, in every culture, reflects a quiet dialogue between humans and the ocean. Builders learned to respect the power of waves, to anticipate the whims of wind, and to create vessels that could carry explorers safely across unknown waters. In their craft, we see the calm patience and subtle wisdom required for ocean voyages, a reminder that exploration is as much about preparation, observation, and respect as it is about reaching distant lands. Sailing across vast oceans was never just about navigation. It was also about life on board, moving with the rhythm of the waves and the quiet passage of days. Sailors learned to live in harmony with their surroundings, observing the changing sky, the movement of water, and the subtle shifts in wind and weather. Life on a ship was slow and measured, filled with routine, small tasks, and moments of reflection that allowed sailors to feel connected to the vastness around them. Meals were simple, often consisting of salted meat, dried grains, and occasionally fresh fish caught along the way. Food was carefully rationed, teaching the crew patience and appreciation for each bite. Water was stored in barrels and consumed sparingly, a reminder of the preciousness of resources. Daily chores included checking sails, repairing ropes, and scrubbing the decks. Each action performed with care, quietly maintaining the vessel and ensuring safety. Time at sea often felt different from life on land. Days blended into nights under the vast sky, with the sun rising and setting over the gentle swell of waves. Nights were illuminated by lanterns or starlight, and the sound of water brushing against the hull created a soft, rhythmic lullaby. Sailors would take turns keeping watch, scanning the horizon for signs of land or changes in weather, while others rested or quietly reflected on the journey. This rhythm fostered mindfulness and a sense of calm, as every motion and observation had purpose. The relationships among crew members were built on trust and cooperation. Each person had a role, whether tending to the sails, navigating, or maintaining the ship. In these shared responsibilities, Sailors learned patience, empathy, and the importance of quiet communication, even in the challenges of storms or rough seas. Calm collaboration allowed the ship to move steadily forward, guided by both skill and respect for the ocean's unpredictable power. Life aboard ship was also a time of observation and learning. Sailors noticed patterns in ocean currents, the flight paths of birds, the shape of clouds, and the appearance of distant land. They sketched maps, recorded notes, or simply committed these lessons to memory, understanding that the ocean offered guidance to those who watched closely. In this way, every journey became not only a physical passage, but a quiet education in patience, observation, and the natural rhythms of the world. The daily life of sailors reminds us that exploration is more than a destination. It is an experience of living slowly, mindfully, and attentively. The gentle sway of the ship, the soft murmur of waves, and the quiet rhythm of routine all teach lessons in endurance, reflection, and connection. In this way, the ocean becomes a companion, offering both challenge and calm, shaping the character of those who navigate its vast, ever-changing expanse. Even in the calmest seas, the ocean could change suddenly, reminding sailors of its quiet power. Storms arrived without warning, with dark clouds rolling across the horizon, gusting winds, and waves that could toss even the sturdiest ships. For early explorers, storms were not just dangers to avoid. They were teachers. They encouraged observation, patience, and a deep respect for the forces of nature. Sailors learned to read subtle signs long before a storm fully formed. A sudden drop in temperature, shifts in wind direction, or the appearance of certain clouds signaled approaching weather. Experienced navigators taught their crews to adjust sails, secure cargo, and prepare the vessel with calm efficiency. There was a rhythm to these preparations, a gentle choreography that allowed humans to move in harmony with the ocean rather than against it. Storms also fostered a quiet resilience. Sailors often worked together, lowering sails, tightening ropes, and steering the ship through towering waves. Even in moments of fear, there was an undercurrent of trust in skill, in experience, and in the guidance offered by nature itself. At night, lanterns swayed against the wind, casting soft, dancing light across the decks as sailors rested in shifts. Always alert, yet moving with measured calm, many explorers found that storms, while challenging, revealed hidden strengths. They learned the limits of their vessels, the endurance of their crews, and the importance of careful preparation before every journey. Each rough passage became a quiet lesson, reinforcing the value of observation, patience, and the ability to adapt. Sailors began to see the sea not as an adversary, but as a dynamic companion, capable of both gentle guidance and sudden teaching. Even after a storm passed, the ocean's surface often reflected the soft light of the sun or moon, waves returning to their gentle rhythm. Sailors would note the currents and watercolor, the scattered debris, and even the quiet songs of seabirds returning to flight. These observations quietly shaped navigation, trade, and exploration for generations to come, demonstrating that the lessons of the sea were as much about mindfulness as they were about movement. Through these encounters with storms, sailors discovered that the ocean's challenges were opportunities for reflection and learning. By moving gently with nature, paying attention to subtle cues, and trusting both skill and intuition, humans learned to navigate safely while developing a deep, lasting respect for the quiet power of the seas. Storms taught patience, humility, and a profound understanding that every voyage, no matter how turbulent, contributes to the timeless rhythm of exploration. As sailors traveled across oceans, they began to notice the creatures that shared these vast waters. From the smallest fish to the largest whales, marine life offered quiet lessons in observation and patience. Explorers discovered that the ocean was not only a path to new lands, but also a living world, full of rhythms, patterns, and subtle interactions waiting to be understood. Dolphins often swam alongside ships, riding the bow waves in graceful arcs. Sailors observed their movements with fascination, noting the ways they seemed to guide vessels through the currents. Whales, too, appeared in deep waters, their gentle breaches creating a soft spray and a moment of reflection. Even seabirds became guides, signaling the presence of land or changes in weather. Early navigators learned to pay attention to these signs, quietly incorporating them into their strategies for safe passage. Explorers kept journals filled with observations of marine life. They described the colors, behaviors, and habitats of creatures encountered during long journeys. These notes were often simple sketches or careful descriptions, yet they formed an invaluable record that enriched understanding of distant oceans. Communities back on land benefited as well, learning about food sources, trade goods, and the natural rhythms of the sea. In addition to practical guidance, these encounters inspired wonder. Sailors reflected on the sheer diversity and beauty of life beneath the waves. Bioluminescent plankton would glow like gentle stars on warm nights, and waves sometimes revealed fleeting glimpses of fish shimmering under moonlight. These small, quiet moments encouraged mindfulness, reminding those at sea to move slowly, observe carefully, and appreciate the intricate world around them. Even the calmest stretches of ocean offered lessons. Sailors discovered migration patterns, noting when whales or birds appeared at specific times of year. They noticed how tides influenced marine behavior and how the interplay of light and water created subtle signals for both navigation and understanding. Each observation contributed to a growing, patient knowledge of the ocean's living system. Through these gentle encounters, sailors learned that the sea was not merely a route to new lands. It was a companion, teacher, and source of quiet inspiration. Observing its creatures encouraged patience, reflection, and a sense of wonder, reminding travelers that every voyage is enriched not only by discovery of distant shores, but also by the soft, living world beneath and around them. As explorers crossed vast oceans, they eventually reached the soft embrace of ports and harbors, where land and sea met in gentle union. These quiet gateways were more than places to dock ships. They were centers of learning, exchange, and reflection. Here, sailors could rest, repair vessels, and observe the customs of distant communities, all while the rhythm of the ocean continued to sway softly in the background. Harbors offered protection from storms, a calm space where ships could be safely moored and cargo unloaded. Sailors would attend to maintenance, repairing hulls and mending sails, often under the soft glow of lanterns. At the same time, local merchants and craftsmen provided resources and knowledge, quietly sharing skills that had been honed over generations. In these interactions, information flowed gently alongside goods, creating networks of understanding that would quietly shape trade and exploration for centuries. The architecture of ports reflected both practicality and careful observation. Docks were designed to accommodate tides and currents. Warehouses stood to protect goods from salt and moisture, and lighthouses or beacons offered soft guidance to arriving ships. Each detail was a reflection of careful planning, a testament to humanity's ability to harmonize with the ever-changing rhythm of the sea. Sailors learned to read these spaces, noting patterns in tide, wind, and local conditions. Understanding that quiet observation often ensured safety and success. Cultural exchange at ports was equally gentle. Sailors observed local foods, textiles, and crafts, often sketching or noting details for their own communities back home. Even language, music, and daily routines became part of their quiet learning. These moments reminded travelers that exploration was not only about geography, but also about understanding and respecting the diversity of human life connected by the ocean. Beyond practicalities, ports offered a moment of reflection. The soft sound of water lapping against hulls, the distant cries of seabirds, and the gentle movement of ships in the harbor created a serene environment. Sailors could pause, breathe, and feel the continuity between their journey and the larger rhythm of the ocean. These quiet interludes were as essential as the voyages themselves, teaching mindfulness, patience, and a deeper connection to the vast waters that carried them across the world. Through the calm spaces of ports and harbors, explorers discovered that the ocean's journey was not only measured in miles, but also in moments of pause, observation, and reflection. These gentle gateways shaped history quietly, connecting distant lands and people, and reminding all who sailed that exploration is as much about learning and listening as it is about moving forward. As sailors and explorers traveled farther, they realized that the ocean held countless hidden patterns and paths. To navigate safely and share knowledge, they began the quiet work of mapping. Cartography, the art of creating maps, was not rushed. It required careful observation, patience, and a gentle attention to detail. Each new coastline, river mouth, or island added a soft layer of understanding to the world's vast waters. Early maps were simple and poetic, often combining geography with the stories sailors had collected. Coastlines were sketched by hand, with notes about winds, currents, and hazards along the way. Islands were marked based on observation from previous voyages, while the stars were referenced as guiding points for nighttime navigation. In many ways, these maps were both practical tools and meditative records, reflecting a deep engagement with the sea's rhythms and patterns. Explorers learned to measure distances using time, the position of the sun, and gentle estimation of speed through water. Compass roses appeared on maps, quietly guiding sailors with magnetic truth, while lines indicating currents and prevailing winds helped travelers move more confidently across open oceans. In every sketch, there was a calm dialogue between human observation and the natural world, where knowledge accumulated slowly, patiently, and with care. The sharing of maps created networks of quiet connection across cultures and generations. Merchants, sailors, and scholars passed them along, adding refinements based on their own experiences. Maps became living records, evolving with each voyage, each observation, and each soft lesson learned from waves, storms, or marine life. They allowed future travelers to move with both confidence and humility, aware that the ocean's power and mystery remained vast and ever-changing. Even in the hands of early explorers, maps were more than tools. They were reminders of the ocean's quiet lessons. They captured not only locations, but also the rhythm of tides, the sway of currents, and the subtle wisdom of celestial guidance. Creating and reading these maps encouraged patience, observation, and reflection, qualities that made journeys across the sea both safer and more meaningful. Through the careful work of mapping, humans learned to translate the vastness of the ocean into a gentle, understandable guide. The art of cartography illustrates that exploration is not just a physical journey, but also a thoughtful, reflective process, one that respects the subtle patterns of the world and quietly passes knowledge forward, inviting others to continue the journey with care and wonder. As sailors ventured across oceans, they often stumbled upon islands and archipelagos, each a quiet revelation. These small lands, rising gently from the waves, offered rest, resources, and sometimes mystery. Discovering an island was more than a navigational achievement. It was an opportunity to observe, reflect, and learn from the rhythm of nature in a new, intimate way. Some islands became temporary homes for sailors, with calm coves providing shelter from storms. Freshwater springs, coconut palms, or small groves of fruit-bearing trees offered nourishment and a momentary reprieve from the monotony of open water. Sailors would quietly note the types of plants and animals, sketching the shores and keeping careful logs. These observations became invaluable for future travelers, forming the earliest guides to regions that were once only distant, shimmering dots on the horizon. Islands also sparked cultural exchange. When local inhabitants were encountered, sailors observed customs, tools, and traditions with curiosity and care. Gifts were exchanged, languages listened to, and slowly understood, and new foods sampled. In many cases, these quiet interactions became bridges, allowing ideas and knowledge to travel alongside goods and stories. Even fleeting encounters could leave lasting impressions, gently shaping maps, trade, and understanding for generations to come. Archipelagos presented both challenges and lessons. Narrow channels, hidden reefs, and shifting tides required careful attention. Sailors learned to read subtle changes in watercolor, the direction of swells, and the flight patterns of birds as clues to safe passage. These small, detailed observations cultivated patience and heightened awareness, reminding explorers that the vast ocean could be navigated safely only through careful listening and respect. Even the smallest islands inspired reflection. Standing on a quiet shore, sailors could feel the vastness of the ocean behind them and the stillness of land before them. They observed waves breaking gently on sand, the shimmer of sunlight across rocks, and the soft calls of seabirds. Each visit offered not only practical knowledge, but also moments of quiet wonder, a reminder that the world was full of hidden beauty, waiting to be discovered slowly, with attention and care. Through these gentle discoveries, explorers learned that the ocean is more than a passageway. It is a living, breathing guide. Islands and archipelagos are markers of its patterns, teachers of its rhythms, and companions in its vast expanse. Each quiet landing contributes to the story of exploration, showing that observation, patience, and respect are the true companions of anyone who dares to follow the waves to distant horizons. Across the world's oceans, sailors discovered invisible helpers that quietly shaped their journeys. The trade winds, these steady, predictable winds, moved across vast stretches of water, offering guidance and speed to ships that knew how to follow them. Understanding and respecting these winds became a subtle art, teaching explorers patience, timing, and the importance of moving in harmony with nature. In the Atlantic, for example, sailors learned that the northeast trade winds blew steadily toward the Caribbean and South America. By catching these winds at the right time, ships could travel efficiently and safely across long distances. Conversely, the return journey often required careful planning to harness westerly winds that moved in the opposite direction. Every voyage depended on observation, timing, and a gentle sensitivity to the movement of air above the waves. The Pacific offered similar lessons. Polynesian navigators, who had long sailed these waters, understood the seasonal shifts of the trade winds and adjusted their voyages accordingly. They observed clouds, ocean swells, and even the behavior of birds to predict the patterns of wind, moving with both patience and confidence. Knowledge of the winds allowed sailors to travel vast distances between islands, connecting communities across thousands of miles of open water. Life aboard ships that relied on trade winds was slow and rhythmic. Sailors adjusted sails carefully, feeling the winds push through ropes and masts. At night, the gentle hum of wind against canvas and the soft splash of waves against hulls created a calming, meditative environment. Observing and interpreting these natural forces required focus, but also encouraged quiet reflection, reminding travelers that the ocean was a guide as much as a challenge. The trade winds also quietly influenced culture and commerce. They determined the timing of journeys, the exchange of goods, and even the routes of early migration. Sailors, merchants, and explorers learned that patience and careful observation could transform the ocean from a vast, unpredictable expanse into a navigable, almost familiar companion. The winds became invisible allies, carrying ships and ideas alike, shaping the quiet flow of human connection across distant lands. Through centuries of careful study, the trade winds taught one of the most profound lessons of ocean exploration: that moving with nature, rather than against it, often yields the most enduring and harmonious results. These soft, steady forces reminded sailors that the sea is a teacher, offering guidance and rhythm to those willing to listen, observe, and follow with respect and calm attention. As sailors ventured farther across the seas, they developed tools to better understand and follow the ocean's rhythms. navigational instruments were quiet companions, helping travelers measure, observe, and interpret the world around them. Each tool, from the simple to the sophisticated, encouraged patience, focus, and a deeper connection with the environment. The astrolabe and quadrant were among the earliest instruments used to measure the angle of the sun or stars above the horizon. Sailors could then estimate their latitude, a gentle way to gauge position without seeing land. Using these instruments required careful attention and calm hands, as even small miscalculations could lead to uncertainty. Yet, through practice, sailors learned to move with confidence, guided by the soft, predictable patterns of the heavens. The compass quietly transformed navigation, offering a steady point of reference, even when the sun or stars were hidden behind clouds. With a magnetized needle pointing north, sailors could maintain a course across open waters, combining observation of natural signs with this constant guide. Life at sea became more deliberate, as each adjustment of a sail or turn of a ship was informed by both human skill and the quiet wisdom of these instruments. Later, charts and early maps complemented these tools, recording currents, tides, and coastlines. Knowledge accumulated slowly from one voyage to another, building a gentle archive of human understanding. Sailors could compare their observations with previous journeys, refining routes and learning from the experiences of others. Every measurement and sketch added to a calm, collective awareness of the ocean's vastness. Using these instruments also taught reflection and patience. Sailors would spend quiet hours measuring angles, observing stars, and recording readings in logbooks. The rhythm of the ocean provided a gentle backdrop, the sound of waves and wind reminding them that their tools were guides, not masters. Knowledge of both nature and instrument worked in harmony, blending observation, intuition, and careful calculation. These quiet innovations remind us that exploration is often a dialogue between humans and their environment. Instruments extended the senses, allowing sailors to move safely and with understanding across immense distances. Yet they also reinforced the ocean's quiet lessons: observation, patience, and respect for patterns that are larger and older than any individual voyage. Through these tools, the sea became not only a pathway, but a gentle teacher, shaping the art and science of exploration for generations to come. As sailors reached distant shores, the oceans became more than routes. They became bridges connecting different cultures. Gentle encounters with new peoples were moments of curiosity, learning, and reflection. Explorers often observed local customs, foods, and crafts, quietly adding these discoveries to their own understanding of the wider world. In many coastal regions, communities had thrived for centuries, living in harmony with the rhythms of the sea. Sailors noticed their fishing techniques, types of boats, and methods of trade, recording these details with careful attention. These observations were shared in journals or communicated orally, quietly enriching knowledge across generations. Islands and ports became places where cultures met, exchanged, and learned from one another. Each interaction leaving subtle, lasting impressions. Language and music often played a role in these encounters. Sailors listened to unfamiliar sounds, sometimes learning words and phrases to communicate basic needs or share goodwill. Songs were observed and remembered, stories were passed along, and even small gestures, gifts of food or tools, became meaningful bridges of understanding. In these soft exchanges, respect and observation were as important as curiosity. Trade, too, was a gentle teacher. Sailors exchanged textiles, spices, or crafted goods for local produce or materials. Beyond commerce, these interactions provided insight into geography, weather patterns, and local resources. Each conversation or transaction helped travelers understand the nuances of distant lands, subtly guiding future voyages and fostering a sense of connection across vast oceans. Even the quiet moments held significance. Sitting on a shore, watching children play, or noting the daily routines of fishermen, sailors absorbed knowledge with patience. They learned how humans adapt to and respect the ocean, how cultures reflect their environment, and how quiet observation can create understanding without force. These moments of reflection often stayed with explorers, reminding them that every voyage was also a journey through human stories. Through these gentle encounters, the oceans became more than physical pathways. They became teachers of empathy, observation, and patience. By listening, observing, and respecting new peoples, sailors not only discovered lands, but also cultivated a quiet awareness of the richness and diversity of human life connected by the vast, enduring waters. As sailors grew more experienced, they realized that the ocean itself quietly shaped the flow of commerce. Currents moved like invisible rivers, carrying ships, goods, and ideas across vast distances. Understanding these flows was not about control, but about careful observation, learning to move with the sea rather than against it. The Atlantic Ocean, for example, offered the Gulf Stream, a steady, warm current that could carry ships from the Americas toward Europe. Knowledge of such currents allowed merchants to plan voyages with precision, conserving energy and ensuring the safety of both crew and cargo. Similarly, the Indian Ocean's monsoon-driven winds and currents created natural cycles for travel, guiding sailors gently across thousands of miles. Timing was essential. Moving with the currents required patience, but it also rewarded careful planning with smoother, faster journeys. Currents influenced trade in subtle ways beyond navigation. They determined the movement of seeds, shells, and other natural materials, quietly connecting distant lands. Sailors noticed these drifting goods, understanding that the ocean could carry both resources and ideas. Coastal communities learned to anticipate these movements, establishing seasonal trade patterns that reflected the rhythm of water, wind, and wave. Life aboard ships navigating these currents was steady and measured. Sailors adjusted sails to catch winds that worked in harmony with the flow of water, feeling the subtle push beneath the hull. The gentle rocking of the ship encouraged reflection, observation, and an intimate understanding of the ocean's power. Over time, these lessons became second nature, quietly shaping routes and trade networks across centuries. Even small observations mattered. The color of the water, the presence of floating plants, or the movement of birds could reveal hidden currents or shifts in wind. Sailors recorded these notes in logs or shared them orally, contributing to a growing body of knowledge about the ocean's patterns. Each observation, each journey, built a quiet understanding that allowed future travelers to navigate safely and efficiently. Through centuries of attentive observation, the influence of currents became clear. The ocean is both a guide and a force, shaping human activity in ways that are often gentle, gradual, and profound. By learning to move with these subtle flows, sailors discovered that the sea teaches patience, observation, and respect, reminding us that exploration is as much about understanding nature's rhythms as it is about reaching new shores. Over the centuries, sailors and shipbuilders began to refine the vessels that carried them across the vast oceans. These quiet innovations were not hurried. They grew slowly through careful observation of both nature and human experience. Each new design reflected lessons learned from wind, wave, and the subtle movements of water over wood. In Northern Europe, shipwrights experimented with hull shapes and sail arrangements, learning which designs allowed for stability in rough seas while maintaining speed. Longer, narrower hulls cut through waves with grace, while masts and sails were arranged to capture wind efficiently, yet gently. Every curve and joint of a ship was crafted with care, balancing the strength needed for long voyages with the flexibility to respond to shifting currents. In the Mediterranean, similar care guided the development of large merchant vessels and galleons. Shipbuilders refined multiple decks, reinforced hulls, and intricate rigging systems, ensuring that cargo, crew, and passengers could travel safely across unpredictable waters. These vessels moved at a deliberate pace, teaching sailors to adjust their strategies based on the rhythm of wind and tide rather than forcing the ship forward. The quiet elegance of these designs extended beyond function. Ships often reflected the cultures that built them, incorporating subtle aesthetic touches, symbols, or carvings. Sailors were reminded that even practical objects could be beautiful and respectful of both human skill and natural forces. Every journey became a blend of craft, observation, and reflection, a dance with the ocean that encouraged patience and attentiveness. Life aboard these vessels remained slow and rhythmic. Adjusting sails, repairing lines, and steering required careful attention and cooperative effort. Nights were illuminated softly by lanterns, with sailors quietly observing the stars, listening to the waves, and noting the movement of currents. The ship itself became a partner in exploration, responding to gentle guidance and teaching lessons in balance, resilience, and harmony with nature. Through these careful refinements, ships became more than tools. They became extensions of the human senses, enabling exploration while teaching humility and respect for the vast ocean. The quiet evolution of ship design reminds us that progress often comes from patience, observation, and the willingness to learn from both success and gentle failure, allowing humans to move farther, safer, and more thoughtfully across the endless waters. The ocean, vast and ever-moving, offered subtle lessons in rhythm and timing. Beyond winds and waves, currents and tides, quietly shaped every journey, teaching sailors patience, observation, and respect for nature's gentle cycles. Understanding these movements became essential as they could carry ships safely or challenge them unexpectedly. Tides, influenced by the moon and sun, created predictable rises and falls in water levels along coasts. Sailors learned to time their arrivals and departures to take advantage of high tides for entering harbors or low tides for beaching ships gently. Observing these patterns required attention over days, even weeks, encouraging a mindful approach to travel that balanced preparation with the rhythm of the natural world. Ocean currents were equally influential. Some flowed steadily over vast distances, quietly guiding vessels along faster, more efficient paths. Navigators discovered the Gulf Stream in the Atlantic and similar currents in the Pacific and Indian Oceans, using them to conserve energy and improve safety. Every gentle push of moving water reminded sailors that the sea was both companion and teacher, capable of guiding those who paid attention. Observing these patterns also revealed connections across distant regions. Floating seeds, debris, and even small animals sometimes drifted along currents, subtly linking lands that seemed far apart. Sailors recorded these observations, adding quiet insight into oceanic movement that later guided trade, migration, and exploration. Over time, these details accumulated into a gentle understanding of how the seas interconnected the world. Life aboard ships responding to tides and currents was deliberate and calm. Adjustments to sails, course, and timing were made with patience, often requiring collaboration among crew members. Nights were spent observing water movement, noting how waves responded to the moon or the passing of a current. Every careful decision reinforced the value of quiet observation, humility, and reflection in navigating the vast, dynamic ocean. Through attentive study of tides and currents, sailors discovered a rhythm that governed not only the movement of water, but also the flow of human activity. These soft, continuous forces encouraged mindfulness, patience, and respect, reminding explorers that every voyage is guided by subtle patterns. The ocean teaches gently but profoundly, offering lessons that extend far beyond navigation into the deeper understanding of the world's quiet, enduring rhythms. As explorers ventured across oceans farther than ever before, long voyages became tests of patience, endurance, and quiet courage. Sailors faced months at sea with limited supplies, unpredictable weather, and the vast empty horizon stretching endlessly around them. Yet these journeys also became opportunities for reflection, observation, and a deep connection with the rhythms of the ocean. Life aboard ship during long voyages was measured and deliberate. Routines were established for tending sails, steering the vessel, repairing ropes, and maintaining the hull. Even the simplest tasks required care and attention, encouraging sailors to move with the flow of the ship and the movement of the waves. Over time, these routines became comforting rhythms, grounding travelers in a world that was otherwise vast and uncertain. Food and water were carefully rationed, teaching patience and gratitude. Sailors would observe their provisions and learn to use every resource thoughtfully. Nights were quiet and reflective, with the gentle rocking of the ship and the soft glow of lanterns, offering moments of calm. Sailors often gazed at the stars, noting familiar constellations and feeling a quiet connection to generations of explorers who had looked at the same sky. Challenges such as storms, illness, or equipment failure tested resilience, yet they also fostered calm problem-solving and collaboration. Crews learned to rely on one another, quietly communicating and working together to navigate safely. In these moments, courage was not loud or brash. It was steady, patient, and resilient, a quiet determination to continue despite uncertainty. These long voyages also revealed the subtle beauty of the open sea. Dolphins occasionally joined ships, waves shimmered in the sunlight, and distant clouds promised rain or calm winds. Sailors recorded observations of currents, tides, and marine life, gradually building knowledge that would guide future travelers. Each day offered lessons in patience, attentiveness, and the gentle art of moving with the natural world. Through these extended journeys, explorers discovered that courage is not always boldness. It can also be quiet persistence, careful observation, and trust in both skill and the rhythms of the ocean. The long voyage became a teacher, showing that every mile traveled contributes to understanding, resilience, and the gentle shaping of human history upon the endless, enduring sea. Across centuries, the ocean itself became a quiet mentor to those who dared to sail its vast expanses. More than a route to distant lands, the sea taught patience, humility, and observation. Every wave, current, and gust of wind offered guidance, and every subtle change in the sky or water encouraged attentiveness. Explorers gradually learned that moving with the ocean required listening as much as acting. Observing the patterns of waves revealed more than direction. It showed the energy of storms far away and the presence of hidden shoals or shallow reefs. Sailors learned to read these signs with calm attention, adjusting sails, shifting cargo, or steering with subtle corrections. The lessons were quiet but profound. The ocean demanded respect, careful thought, and cooperation among all on board. Even daily routines at sea became part of this learning. Adjusting rigging, repairing lines, and trimming sails were not merely tasks, but exercises in mindfulness. Each movement was measured, deliberate, and connected to the natural world. Nights offered reflection under starry skies, where sailors traced constellations, observed tides, and considered the vastness around them. These quiet moments shaped both skill and character. The ocean also revealed the interconnectedness of life. Currents carried seeds, debris, and even small animals across great distances. Birds, whales, and fish became guides or indicators of land, weather, or seasonal change. Sailors gradually understood that every voyage was part of a larger rhythm, a dance with forces far greater than themselves. In this, the sea gently taught lessons about patience, respect, and harmony with the world. Through centuries of observation, exploration, and reflection, humans began to see the ocean as more than water. It was a living system, a teacher of resilience, timing, and quiet perseverance. Every voyage added to collective knowledge, guiding future travelers and reminding them that the true art of exploration is not only reaching new shores, but also moving thoughtfully, attentively, and gently with the rhythms of the vast, enduring sea. As centuries of voyages passed, the quiet work of explorers, sailors, and navigators left a lasting legacy. The knowledge they gathered of currents, winds, islands, and distant cultures gradually formed a web of understanding that connected the world in ways once unimaginable. These contributions were not always grand or dramatic. Often, they were small, patient observations that quietly shaped navigation, trade, and the exchange of ideas. Maps improved, capturing coastlines, currents, and safe harbors. Sailors' journals documented everything from migratory birds to local customs, preserving details of distant lands and human life. This careful accumulation of knowledge allowed future explorers to travel with confidence, guided not only by tools and stars, but by the quiet wisdom of those who had sailed before. Each observation became a thread in the tapestry of oceanic history, connecting generations across time and space. Explorers also left lessons about humility and patience. Long journeys taught that speed was less important than attentiveness, and that collaboration and observation often mattered more than boldness or risk. The sea demanded respect, and those who learned its rhythms quietly carried that understanding forward, influencing trade, settlement, and cultural exchange. Even the smallest encounters, an island landing, a shared meal with local inhabitants, a sketch of a coastal feature, contributed to a broader understanding of the world. The legacy extends beyond maps and records. It lies in the enduring spirit of curiosity, reflection, and gentle observation. Sailors learned to read subtle signs in the ocean and sky, to notice currents and tides, to observe wildlife and human culture. This knowledge was quietly transformative, enabling safer travel, more thoughtful navigation, and a deeper appreciation of the interconnectedness of oceans, lands, and peoples. As we reflect on the legacy of exploration, we can see that it is built on patience, humility, and respect for the natural world. The stories of these journeys remind us that the ocean is not only a vast expanse to be crossed, but a teacher, a guide, and a companion. Its lessons continue to echo today, offering insight into both the history of human endeavor and the quiet wisdom of the world's enduring seas. As our quiet voyage through the history of ocean exploration comes to an end, we can pause to reflect on the journey itself. The oceans, with their vastness and subtle rhythms, have been both pathways and teachers. They guided explorers with winds, tides, and currents, offered lessons through storms and calm waters, and connected distant peoples and cultures in ways both gentle and profound. The stories of sailors, navigators, and explorers remind us that discovery is not only about reaching distant lands, but also about learning to observe, reflect, and move with patience. Every voyage involved careful attention, quiet courage, and respect for forces larger than oneself. From celestial navigation to the gentle art of reading currents, from encounters with new cultures to observations of marine life, the ocean shaped understanding in countless subtle ways. Through centuries of exploration, humans have learned that the sea is not simply a highway to new worlds. It is a living, breathing guide. It teaches resilience, humility, and mindfulness. It reminds us that progress often grows from observation and reflection, rather than speed or force. Each wave, each breeze, each soft movement of water carries wisdom for those who choose to notice. Now, as we settle into the calm rhythm of this final reflection, let your thoughts drift like ships on quiet waters. Imagine the gentle sway of a vessel beneath a starlit sky, the soft whisper of waves, and the endless horizon stretching peacefully into distance. Allow the quiet lessons of history, the patient observation, the thoughtful exploration, the gentle curiosity to settle softly in your mind. For now, let your thoughts slowly rest. The oceans we have traveled together in history fade into gentle waves, carrying stories, discoveries, and quiet inspiration. As the past lingers softly in your mind, drift into calmness, letting the echoes of exploration fade into peaceful rest. Thank you for sharing this gentle journey through time. Until our next voyage into the quiet stories of history, good night.